everybody, and welcome back to FairyRoseGaming. You're here with me, Rose, once again. And today we're here with, oh my god, it's a wonderful visual novel that I love so much. This game is the reason I started having a social life during quarantine. And let's just turn the music down a little so y'all can hear me better. This is Andromeda Six. It is a wonderful space-themed romance story-driven visual novel, and oh my god, I love it so much, so much. But anyway, instead of me gushing about it, let's get right into it. So I'm gonna put it back up here. I'm gonna see options. Put the text speed up. And happy Pride, even though it's a few months late. Warning: photosensitivity / epilepsy seizures. A very small percent of. Oh my god. A very small percentage of Oh. Well, hope y'all could read that. Anyway, so enter your name. We're gonna be Rose, because that's me. Choose your pronouns. I mostly go by she, her. And then choose your species. So Talari, a gentle and intelligent alien race dedicated to their medical studies and nurturing way of life. Human, the most populous of all species, renowned for their scientific advances and engineering. And Kitelfin, humanoid race gifted with the ability to live both on land or water. This unique species easily adapts to their chosen habitat. I'm gonna go with Kitelfin because that's my favorite race. Episode 1, Error 404. I love anything regarding fish races or going underwater. I'm gonna put the music up a little. Alright, let's go. My eyes crack open slowly, one and then the other. There's a heaviness that's settled behind them, and I squint as I adjust to the fluorescent lights hanging overhead. With a low groan, I manage to push myself up to my elbows, surveying my surroundings clumsily. Small room, metal walls, a desk, 2 doors positioned opposite me. A couple of empty crates stacked in one corner, but overall the room gives off the impression of being unused. No personal belongings, no decorations. It's all quite bare. I panic for a moment, my mind racing through all the possible reasons there could be to explain my being here, in this place I don't recognize with no memory of how I got here. Am I in a cell? I push myself into a sitting position, my body feeling like an entire building has fallen on it. The mattress beneath me, although soft enough to be comfortable, does nothing to soothe the ache that has settled in my muscles. My eyes flick over the small room once again, eyebrows dripping in confusion. There's something else, a whirring. I feel it almost as much as I hear it. Is the room moving? My breath sticks in my throat, panic and confusion rising in me like a wave. Where the hell am I? And why can't I remember anything? The door opposite me hisses and shifts, sliding back into the wall as it opens. And something in me turns defensive, holds my knees up to my chest. The first time I saw this man, I lost my mind. Oh, I didn't know you were awake. Man enters as so tall his head almost touches the top of the doorframe. Apologies, I should have knocked. Should I try doing voices? Because that sounds like a bad time. He offers me a tight smile, and the metal chair beneath the desk scrapes across the floor as he pulls it out, sitting and leaning forward with his arms rested on his knees. Oh, okay. I know what position he's sitting in. I had to think about it. How are you feeling? He looks at me expectantly, and though I refuse to let my guard down so easily, an answer escapes me anyway. I feel horrible. I look the man over, from his gentle half-smile to his casual posture. The gaze falls nervously upon the pistol strapped to his body. There's nothing in his demeanor that suggests he intends to use them. He certainly doesn't look like he's here to harm me. I don't know what happened to me, but whatever it was, I don't think it was much fun. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. He chuckles softly, and I find myself thinking there's something I like about his voice. Something warm. I'm gonna marry him immediately, as soon as I can. I was worried about you after. His eyes flicker a little, almost as though he'd take back those words if he could. After what? The awkward silence that follows is noticeable, his hesitation hanging thick in the air. Something happened, something big, and somehow, I can't remember what. Though even in the face of such uncertainty, one thing is abundantly clear. Whether I can trust the man in front of me or not, I need answers. Who are you? Who are you, anyway? He hesitates only a moment before something unseen inside him shifts. I'm June. The ship we're on is the Andromeda Six, the finest cruiser around, and my home. Smile! At least for the time being, anyway. June pauses before saying any more, his brow furrowed in thought. What can I call you? I open my mouth to tell him, but stop short with no memory of my name surfaces. Who am I? I have a name. I feel it there on the tip of my tongue. Every time I reach out, it escapes me. Not sure. June frowns, and I can't keep the worry from bubbling up inside me. I'd be able to remember something as simple as my own name. Closing my eyes, I try to coax the memory to the forefront of my mind. I can almost feel it on the tip of my tongue, and I know it's close, hidden behind the mist of my mind. Nothing. I can't remember. My throat tightens at the realization. Not knowing where I am is one thing, but not knowing my own name. All the names across my mind feel foreign. Not one of them standing out as mine. Panic begins to crawl into my lungs, contracting my throat, leaving me gasping for breath. Hey, don't panic. Look at me. June pulls his chair closer to the bed, his eyes locked on mine. He takes a deep breath in through his nose, releasing it slowly through his mouth. With a hand, he gestures for me to do the same. After a few breaths in and out, my muscles seem to knot a little, reason returning to me. Now close your eyes, relax, breathing through it. I love him. I'm hesitant, but I follow his instruction. Rolling my shoulders a little, I close my eyes and let out a deep, shuddering breath. I know my name. It's here somewhere. Don't try to force it. Focus on clearing your mind, calming it. Let it come to you. Oh god, I need to sneeze. Pineapple, pineapple, pineapple. Okay, it's gone. His voice washes over me like a balm, soothing and healing my fractured nerves. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Ever so slowly, my mind empties the darkness it leaves behind like an endless abyss, waiting to be filled. After a few more moments, something clicks into place. Like the download button, my brain has regained power once again. Trying to hold all other thoughts at bay, I part my lips and speak the one word that hangs like a neon light in the back of my mind. Rose. Rose. That's my name. A breath of fresh air washes through my lungs, my frustration from earlier receding a little. I try to push a little further, a last name or even my home. But the more I try, the more the black hole of my memories sucks me into nothingness. Nothing comes to mind, not even the slightest inkling. I decide not to push it anymore for now. First name will do. Slowly, I open my eyes again, a smile tugging on my lips as my eyes fall upon June in the contagious, lopsided grin of his. I'm Rose. June grins wider, and it's one of those smiles that reaches his eyes, wrinkles the skin beside them. I'm so sorry. I go feral for this man. It's a pleasure to meet you, Rose. Do you remember anything else? I searched my mind, every darkened crevice and corner, but come up short. No. June lets out a sigh, as if it burdened him to be the one to tell me whatever comes next. There was an attack on the palace in Siltavier. We found you unconscious nearby. The bridge had collapsed. Well, it had been destroyed, actually. Our medic healed what she could, but we never expected memory loss to be a factor. Perhaps you lived around the area. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I shake my head. I recall the city of Siltavier, capital of the planet Goldus. Did I live there? Do I have a life there or a family waiting for me? My mind seems bathed in darkness, coming up blank with each attempt to remember my past. I'm sorry, I remember the city, but nothing past that. June ducks his head, thinking for a moment. Could be some type of short-term memory loss. We'll have our medic look over you again. If you remember where you're from, we can help get you back there. There must be someone waiting for you. There isn't. And words leave my mouth before I can stop them. But somehow, I know it's true. Even if it wasn't, what good would it be if I can't remember them? June shifts in his chair, but I cut in before he has a chance to say any more. All I know right now is my name. I have you to thank for that. Start, right? I chew on my bottom lip anxiously, feeling his eyes flicker over me. I know the thought of forgetting everything should be terrifying, but for some reason I feel calm. Peace with whatever has happened to me. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign. An opportunity for me to make a fresh start. I still want to remember something. Anything. But I could be on the run for all I know. Exiled, even. Better to avoid that kind of trouble, don't you think? An uneasiness settles in my stomach, and I think that perhaps I'm more shaken up than I've let on. Only consolation is that June seems even more concerned than I am. His eyes go wide at my words, and I can practically feel the concern dripping from him. I'm sorry. We should get you to the medic. She'll be able to help you far better than I can. She's Talari. Perhaps you remember their reputation? Indeed, Talari are exceptional healers, though I can't recall ever meeting any of the species before. June offers his hand to help me stand, and when I take it, his skin is surprisingly warm, a stark contrast to the cold metal walls of the room around us. Despite the roughness of his skin, the callus is on his fingers. His touch is gentle. For a moment, I think I'm okay to stand on my own, but when I let go of his hand, my leg buckled beneath me. Letting out a yelp, I'm hit with a sense of falling for only a split second before a strong arm wraps around my waist, holding me up. God, I'm gonna feel so uncomfortable saying my own name. I should have picked a different name. Rose, are you alright? This is where this game has flirting options, because it is romance addled, as I said. Romance isn't the main part of the story, but it definitely is, like any good space sci-fi fiction. If you wanted to get closer, you could have just asked. June's arms around me make my skin tingle in ways I'm not sure they should. I can't help but wonder about that golden tan, the strength I can feel under the fabric of his clothes. You know, if you wanted to get closer, you could have just asked. Fleshy boy! Oh, no, sorry, it was just... I can't help but laugh at the way his face flushes, how his eyes go wide. For someone who at first seemed so composed, who knew he could be flustered so easily. No need to apologize. I'm not complaining. Oh, clears the stone in what I assume is an attempt to regain some of his composure. Well, I shall keep that in mind then. My mouth twitches in its attempt to hide the smirk that threads out at his words. Feeling steadier, I take a step back from him before my legs go weak again. It's time for another reason entirely. Horny! Horny jail. Sorry for that, I was just... Don't. I'm not complaining either. You really gonna look at me like that in this video? His eyes lock on mine, and there's something different about them. Something I can't quite place. I shall also keep that in mind. I'm cut short when the lights above us blink a couple of times and the ship lurches, prompting June to steady me with a hand on my arm once again. What was that? Just technical issues? What kind of technical issues? Last thing I need is to be stranded on a broken starship with no memory. One crisis at a time, thank you very much. June smiles at me reassuringly. Nothing to worry about. Come on, I'll show you the infirmary on my way out. I follow behind June down a couple of corridors. The ship isn't massive by any means, but it certainly seems bigger than I expected. When he stops in front of a set of blue, transparent double doors, he turns to me. This is where I leave you. I should probably get to the bridge before all hell breaks loose. The alarm must show on my face because he shakes his head and chuckles softly. Nothing to worry about. Now head on in. Riona will take care of you. Thank you, June. He stops and gives me a strange look, his eyes wide. Just as quickly, he smiles gently and nods before disappearing down the corridor. When I enter the infirmary, as cautious and quiet as a rabbit avoiding a trap, the first thing that hits me is the smell. It smells clean, but not in that sterile medical way. More like dewy grass and fresh rain, like the open air and sky. I love that. It reminds me of a cool spring morning. I can't recall having ever experienced one. It's almost homely. Oh, you're awake. A voice that startles me surprisingly soft, and my head tilts to follow the sound. She's Talari by the looks of her luminescent skin, her primal yellow eyes. I'm Riona. It's good to finally see you up and about. You've been looking after me. She smiles, and there's something so soft, so calming about it, that soothes right down to my bones. I'm reluctant to let my guard down so easily, but a soothing presence hardly inspires fear. Yes, I'm the medic here. And your name is? Rose. Pleasure to meet you, Rose. Please, take a seat. Let's have a look at you. She gestures with long, thin fingers towards a medical chair that's positioned in the center of the room, and I follow her instruction, noting the plastic that crinkles beneath me as I sit. So, how are you feeling? Physically, I think I'm okay, but I hesitate and she cocks her head to the side, watching me curiously and giving me time to get my thoughts in order. I haven't been able to remember much besides my name. I see. Rihanna grabs a long silver wand from a metal table and holds it in front of me. May I? I nod and she lights the tip with a swish, shining the blue lights on the end into my eyes one after the other. I suspected you had a concussion when they brought you in here. You had hit your head rather hard. I cleaned it up and lasered the wound back together, but I'm afraid there's not a lot I can do for memory loss. Her fingers are cool against my scalp where she inspects the old wound next, giving an improving hum at whatever she finds there. Have you noticed any issues with your vision or coordination? The silver wand is pressed gently inside my ear before Riona pulls it back out and inspects the strange illuminated symbols on the side. When I first got out of bed, I lost my balance. Since then, apart from the memory thing, I've been feeling fine. Rena holds the wand in front of my face vertically, and the blue light washes over me, blinking for a few seconds before it dissipates entirely. When I follow her gaze to the screen behind me, the images have changed, depicting a series of numbers and icons I can't understand. Your scans are almost back to normal, aside from some bruising here and there, but that's to be expected. She stands back and inspects me, her nose crinkled slightly in thought. Physically, you're healing well. If you've already remembered your name, my best guess would be a mild case of retrograde amnesia. Amnesia? Yes, it's more common than you may think following a head injury, but I can't say that every patient heals in the same way. But it will heal. I will remember, won't I? Rihanna gives a sad smile, and in that moment I know she's just as unsure as I am. Only time will tell. Perhaps if I ask you some questions, it might trigger a memory. It's worth a shot. Let's see, where did you live? In a big city. City. At least, I think so. The images are hazy, but when I really think about it, I get flashes of a golden sky, clouds stretching as far as I can see. That's a good start. Do you see anything else? I close my eyes like I did earlier with June and try to remember more. White, gold, and water. No, fountains. There were fountains everywhere. That sounds like Goldus, alright. The planet gets its water sources from tunnels deep below the Earth. Fountains make it accessible to everyone. Let's see if you remember anything else. Do you have any siblings? I do. Yes, I think I had many. I have this feeling I was always surrounded by brothers and sisters, but it never felt like a family. There was one, though. I gasp when a sharp pain shoots through my head and what I remember as grasping onto, slipping through my fingers like sand. I can't remember anymore. Don't push yourself too hard. We can try again later. I nod and glance around the room, and once again I'm hit by that smell. I notice now that there's something else mixed into it. Something sweet, almost fruity. Can I ask what the smell is? Baby, I love her. Oh, it's my mister. Riona gestures to a small cylinder-shaped object in the corner of the room. I can program it to replicate. I can't talk. I can program it to replicate sense. This one is of my home planet, Tellurian. She giggles unexpectedly, as if she didn't mean to say that. I guess I'm a little homesick. I've heard Tellurian is beautiful. I mean, I'm not sure how I know, but I'm sure it is. Riona smiles fondly, and I get the impression she's envisioning her home in her mind. You're right, it is. Crystal water, clear skies, green stretching as far as you can see. Dotted all over the planet are enormous spires, towers as it disappear high into the clouds. Each spire can hold an entire city. Hospitals, schools, homes. People think Goldus is the shining star of the system, but Solarian is the real jewel. It's more beautiful than this hunk of junk anyway, but don't let the captain know I said that. Why did you leave? Smile sadly, and I can't but feel a little of the emotion myself sinking into my skin like dew. I wanted to help the people that no one else would. We're gonna flirt with everyone, and then we're gonna decide later who our main romance is gonna be. That's kind of you. I don't know of many people who do such a thing. It's very kind of you. I thought it would be, but not all good intentions are welcomed. Race changes, that sadness I'd seen glimpses of every now and then coming to the surface once more. I'm not sure what possesses me to do so, but I lay my hand on her arm in comfort, feeling the cool surface of luminescent skin beneath my fingers. Seeing her like this stirs something in me, some urge to do something, anything to see her smile again. I'm sorry to hear that, but if it helps, I'm very grateful to you for taking such good care of me. Her blush! Oh my god! Her lips curve upwards, and there's something beautiful about the softness of her eyes, the pink blushed across her skin. Thank you. But I'm simply doing my job. You needed help. I couldn't just leave you. You could have. But I'm glad you didn't. I'd be dead if not for you, so thank you very much. Ship lurches violently, and Riona and I grab hold of the chair, fixtured securely to the floor to keep ourselves from flying across the room. What was that? Probably just a glass cloud in space. Probably just a gas cloud. Our pilot is usually good at avoiding them, but sometimes the autopilot veers us too close. Well, we're all done here. Best if you go back to your room and get some rest. Your body hasn't fully recovered. Do you think you can find your way back on your own? I'm sure I'll manage. She did not. Okay then. I'll bring you some food and fresh clothes in a little while, checking on how you're doing. I exit the infirmary, heading back in the direction June and I had come from. At least, I think it was this way. As I continue walking down the corridor, I realize all the doors look the same. Oh no. Maybe I should have asked Rayon to show me the way after all. corridors are all metal walls and elaborate circuitry, fluorescent lights evenly spaced hanging from the ceiling, the occasional patch holding metal sheets together. I look around for some kind of sign, but find nothing, stopping only when I come to the next door. It's larger than the rest of them, and must lead somewhere important. I've been debating my choices for about a minute too long, I suddenly realize there's nothing to lose if I end up walking into the wrong room anyway. Yep, this certainly isn't where I'm meant to be. I should probably leave, though I can see the edges of a window behind a stack of crates against the wall, and draws my curiosity. This must be the docks. The boarding area should be around here somewhere, which means the view from here must be breathtaking. Making my way past the crates, I'm now facing a large window, the vast, dark abyss of the universe laid bare in front of me. I count the stars as we pass, and I wonder if I'm truly from Goldus. Somewhere out there, the answers wait for me, I'm sure of it. Somewhere in the system lays the key to my true self. My only fear is whether it's a good idea to chase the ghosts of my past, or leave them buried where they are and start anew. Also, I just want to say one thing. Holy mother of God. I love the writing in this game so much. I know the writers of this game, and oh my god, they are so good. They're so good. Do I have any more coffee left? I don't have any more coffee! Well, look who's up and running. I clutch on my chest as I jump at the voice, turning to find the source. Relax, kid, I'm not gonna. Holy shit, is that what all the racket is down here? He steps up to the door, appearing through the small window with a look of mild irritation. When he steps back again, he swears under his breath. This is not good. Captain's gonna flip his lid when he hears there's a hole in the cargo hold. A hole in the what? Is it safe for us to be here? He paces a few steps, looking at the door nervously before turning to me. That door is airtight. I'm more worried about the low talus supply. When I don't say anything, his lips pull into a tight line. Small fruit only grows on Talaran. I shrug my shoulders and he lets out a defeated sigh. Doc gets cranky without her special fruit, and you do not want to see her when she's cranky. Come on, let's head to the bridge. We can chat on the way. He turns briskly, and I debate running in the opposite direction and hiding in my room, if I can find it. Before I think better of it, and I'm forced to jog to catch up with him. I love him! Even though his posture seems tense, the curve is the curve of his lips suggests otherwise. I'm Bash, by the way. You got a name? Rose. Pleasure. So, Rose, how the hell did you end up in the middle of the coup on Goldus? A coup? I don't remember. You don't remember how you got there? I don't remember anything. Well, except my name. June helped me with that. Good old June, huh? He thinks for a moment before speaking again. Well, that's brilliant. Think about it. It's not every day you get to make up a brand new identity. You want to pick a new name? If you do it quick, I won't tell anyone you swapped it. Not that there's anything wrong with the one you've got. Think of all the choices. You could name yourself Moon Unit. I stare at him, a little stunned, and after a moment or two, his face drops in realization. Unless you're not happy about all this? Shit, I'm sorry. Sometimes it takes my head a few seconds to catch up with my mouth, you know. Do you have ADD? It's fine. I smile at him. There's something addictive about his energy, the way he seems to be almost bouncing on air with each step. It's fine. To be honest, I don't know how to feel about it yet. It's an odd feeling, not knowing. I should be feeling something, right? But I don't know, it's confusing. I get it. There's nothing like falling on your ass to make you feel like nothing in this damn world makes sense anymore. If it's any consolation, I've been there once or twice myself. He smiles sadly, and I have a hard time imagining anything in the world bringing down the bundle of energy in front of me. My eyes drift to the way his tattoos flicker, glowing luminescent under the spaceship's lights, and then the bionic arm at his side, a network of metal plates and connectors, intrinsically woven together. On closer inspection, I noticed the hastily patched repair jobs and oil-stained bandages holding parts of it together. I can't keep a smile from tilting my lips. There's something about Bash that fascinates me. Something rough and unruly, and I find myself wishing I could learn more about him. Look at he! Do the bionics make you nervous? I snap my gaze to his face, embarrassed at being caught staring. He laughs and I can't help but feel like he's laughing at me. You never seen bionics before? I wish I could speak English. Your mouth is practically dragging on the floor. No, I've seen them before. I don't know. Maybe I've never seen them up close. Oh, that's it, is it? You're hoping for a closer look. So he wants to play. He waggles his eyebrows at me suggestively, and a grin tilts my lips. You can play that game. I stop walking and slowly run a finger over his metal arm. It's so cool under my fingertips that I almost shiver. Bash watches me warily, but doesn't stop me. Are you offering? He clears his throat, completely caught off guard, and I laugh out loud at the ruffled look on his face, the moment ending. Careful who you're playing with, Tin Man. He smirks, regaining his composure in an instant. Tin Man, huh? Haven't heard that one before. I like it. For a man of steel, though. I'm curious. Do they give you any special abilities? Bash flexes his bionic arm in front of him, making a fist and relaxing it again. His face is strange all of a sudden, haunted by the ghost of memories past. This is stronger than any old human arm. Faster, too. Crushes steel as easy as a tin can. But the real moneymaker is this. He gestures to his left eye, giving me the opportunity to study it closer. It's obvious on first glance that there's something about it, different about it. The way it pulses a bright electric yellow makes his right eye, dark forest green, seem almost dull in comparison. Infrared sight, X-ray vision, advanced targeting. I instinctively moved to cover myself before he laughs heartily and I stopped, rubbing my arms to my side and feeling a little foolish. Relax, kid, you'll know when it's activated. It glows red. I laugh at myself, trying to recover from my awkward reaction. And the tattoos? Purely ornamental, though I like to think they add to my overall formidable appearance. An ungraceful snore escapes me before I can stop it. I hesitate, deciding how to word the question is poised on my lips without sounding I'm digging for gory details. How did you end up with them? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. Bash grimaces, and I'm immediately aware of how intrusive I'm being. Sorry, you don't have to answer that. I'll make you a deal. If something worth sharing pops in ahead of yours, I'll tell you. I agree with a nod of my head and a tight smile of my own. Falling into step beside him once again. So, what do you think of our humble abode? Ignoring the fact, of course, that there's a great fucking hole in the cargo hold. I can't help but smile the way Bash seems to flip something as serious as a hole in the spaceship to something of mere inconvenience. I haven't seen much of it yet. No one's giving you a tour. The outrage. You'd think they were a band of bloody savages if you didn't know any better. Have you met the captain yet? No? Good. Bash gives a scoff of a laugh and shakes his head in amusement. I can't say you're missing out. That man's got a vendetta on a scale I've never seen before. Just stay clear of his warpath and you'll be okay, kid. Well, let's see. Anyone else you'd like to know more about? The pilot I've heard about. There was mention of a pilot? Yes. Now there's a pocket rocket if I ever did see one. Too bad she wasn't a fan of the water tank plans I drew up. Perhaps you'd be more obliging? What I wouldn't give to see a full-blown space mermaid in all their watery glory. His mind drifts elsewhere for a moment, and when I clear my throat, he shrugs his shoulders and shakes his head. She'd rather live like a lowly old human. Can't see the sense in that, personally. Riona. Riona comes to mind. He gives me a look, one I can't quite decipher. Doc is... well, there's plenty I could say about her, but I'll save it for another time. His face changes with that, becomes softer, somehow. June. June seems nice. Cowboy brought you on board. Has he shown you his guns yet? It won't be long till he's whipping them out. Both sets of them. Maybe I need the horny jail. I took that very wrong in my head. Just watch out for that pet of his. Sharp teeth and confined spaces are not a good mix, let me tell you now. Don't ask me how I know that. His pet. You'll know it when you see it. It's an alligator. Trust me. You've obviously met me, the most handsome and talented engineer this side of Callius X. I would say that's all you need to know, but I'm sure there was someone else. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? He holds a finger against his lips, and I can't tell if he's serious or this is all just for dramatic effect. He snaps his fingers in front of him, grinning at me as we walk through a set of double doors. Oh yes, the assassin. Says he's a spy, but between you and me, I can see him sneaking up on me from a mile away. He leans in closer to whisper the last part, his eyes glinting with an unmistakable mischief. Always lurking in the shadows, playing with his knives. You know, this one time I swear I saw him. Saw me what? Ah! David, hey, I was just telling the newbie here about our happy little crew. Delightful. Please, don't let me stop you. You know what? I think I hear the captain calling my name. What's that, Cap? Ash is already halfway across the bridge before I have the chance to say goodbye, leaving me standing on my own at the entrance. Well, not quite on my own, as Damon is still leaning nonchalantly against the wall next to me. I spare him a nervous glance, my skin prickling under his cold stare. The way he's looking me over makes me feel I'm not so much a guest on his ship, but his prey. I wonder, is he really an assassin? Trying to ignore his unnerving presence, I surveyed the front of the ship. I saw a cat. Wonder which one it was. The room is spacious. Control panels spread across the front two seats for the pilot. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. I was gonna say that's an unnecessary comma, but it's not. I just read it as an unnecessary comma. Control panels spread across the front. Two seats for the pilot and co-pilot, surrounded by a domed window and a cluster of seats behind them. I duck my head a little to see through the glass up ahead. The view of Celiota is even more breathtaking from here. I've no idea what the planet we're passing in the distance is, but somehow it makes me feel unnervingly small. A tiny, insignificant speck, alone in this vast galaxy. The strange sound of arguing reaches my ears, and a couple of people I haven't met yet. A couple of June and Bash face across the room towards us. One man, his presence ominous, stops them all, his voice booming through the space. Over the whirring of engines and the grind of electronics, I can't quite make out what they're arguing about, and I feel a slinking presence behind me, dark and ominous and entirely dangerous. Everyone I've met so far has been welcoming in their own way, but this man, Damon, Bash called him, feels anything but. My eyes flick to the side, and I know, even before I see it, that he's watching me. Let's just hang back. That whole scene up there seems a little too tense. The second thought, it might not be such a good idea to barge into the middle of a debate between people I don't know, on a ship I don't belong on, in the middle of nowhere. Tension hangs in the air, so thick you could cut it with a blade. I see now that my interruption would be less than welcome. Trying to find something else to do in the meantime, startled upon finding Damon closer than I expected, staring me down through cold, calculated eyes. Good to know you're not as dumb as you look. He speaks with a tone that leaves me unsure of his intention, holding a thin blade between forefinger and thumb, sheathing it quickly upon catching my wandering eyes. And here I thought after we found you smack dab in the middle of an attack in the royal palace that you were a total write-off. Makes me wonder if I was wrong. I stare at him dumbly, utterly baffled by how anyone can exude so much charm yet be so completely disrespectful all at the same time. Tall, dark, and handsome is an understatement for the man in front of me, but there's something else. Something venomous lingering behind that wolfish smile. Something that seems almost cruel in comparison to the beauty of the rest of him. Damon lets out a long, dramatic sigh, cocking his head left and then right, sizing me up. No, something about your slack jaw and half-witted stare tells me I'm most certain he wasn't. Challenge him, obviously. I should know better than to challenge a man with a dagger and a dark, predatory glint in his eyes, but I'm not about to let him walk all over me. How dare you speak to me like that? Didn't anyone ever teach you some common decency? As I speak, my hands find purchase on my hips, and I lock my eyes on him, furiously staring him down. I am stabbed. I am promptly stabbed in the gut by a knife. It strikes me that it may not be the best idea I've ever had, but it's too late to back down now. I'm gonna die. As the tiniest sliver of doubt begins to worm its way inside of my chest, Damon tips his head back and laughs, startling me with the ferocity of it. Poor little thing. Did I hurt your feelings? Oh, no, You're not a princess, so don't expect me to treat you any differently than I do everyone else here. I scoffed at him in total disbelief. Princess. All I wanted was a little respect. So that's it. Is it only royalty is deserving of your respect? Respect? No. Have you seen what the last king did to our system? Not that the current usurper is any better. He smiles, but there's nothing warm or enticing about it, and the stage my patience is completely and utterly frayed. I'm gonna punch him. Would it kill you to learn some manners? I don't know. Never tried it. Why am I not surprised? I turn to leave, thoroughly done with this conversation, and the way Damon's mood chops and changes as quickly as the view from the cockpit. I forgot how much I hated this guy in the first chapter. Where are you going? That sounded so... I'm gonna become a mumble rapper, guys. A silky voice stops me in my tracks, and when I look at Damon, I find him studying me curiously, as if I were some specimen in a laboratory. Back to my room. But we've only just started having fun. You know what else I'm good at? Finding what people want, what they really want. I want to punch you. Is that an option? He pushes himself away from the wall, stepping towards me with unnatural feline grace. So tell me, Rose, what is it that you truly desire? His voice still holds what seems to be a perpetually snarky undertone, but when he asks me that, I don't know. I have amnesia! Damon narrows his cold, cold eyes, the look in them clearly unsatisfied with my answer. Everyone wants something. It's usually dark, twisted, and secretive. It's what makes us who we really are. I have no idea what I want. I literally know nothing but my name. Liar. I'll find out what it is sooner or later. Excited eyes slide up and down my body, leaving a burning trail in their wake. Is he really hitting on me? I want to punch him. I'd like to see you try. You can try, but I doubt you'll get far. I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. Shifts against the wall, cocking his head to the side curiously. Fluorescent lights on the ship casting shadows over his sharp features. Being near Damon feels like being stuck between both ends of a magnet. He pushes you away, only to reel you back in again with the same fiery intensity. It's maddening, exhilarating, and maybe more than just a little terrifying. I'm still struggling against the ocean of bewilderment he's drowning me in, desperately fighting to keep my head above water, when his cool fingers grab my chin, tilting my face towards him. I'm always up for a challenge. I do hope you don't disappoint. I swallow thickly, knowing I'm being lured into one of his traps, yet unable to keep the roguish grin from tugging at my lips. I don't miss the way his tongue flicks over his bottom lip, or how his pupils blow wide when those cold eyes hover over my lips, slowly dragging over my features with practiced ease. Your pupils expand when you see things that you like. So, He squeezes my chin just once before he drops his hand and relinquishes his hold. My skin burns from the contact, the ghost of his touch lingering a few moments longer, and I find myself quite unable to move, to breathe, to do anything other than stand here dumbly and pretend my insides don't feel like they're slowly but surely caving inwards. Eventually, I clear my throat, awkwardly willing my limbs to loosen, and Damon Oh, I am so sorry. Damon chuckles at my attempts to compose myself, his eyes gleaming with the prospect of a challenge. I'm still lost in the moment when footsteps approach, heavy sounding clipped, and a gruff voice calls toward us. I love you! Resner. Damon rolls his eyes, his lips curl into a smirk as he winks at me, blue eyes glinting with amusement. He steps back slowly, one foot behind the other, and sliding his hands into his pockets, he turns, a shit-eating grin spread across his handsome face. Yes, dear? Is this really the time to be messing around? Damon gasped, holding a hand to his chest and mocked offense. Messing around? Me? Why, Commander, I would never. You guys look so cozy over there, and I would never want to intrude. Commander inhales sharply, shutting his eyes and pinching the bridge of his nose in clear annoyance. He needs some Advil. Why are you... He stops, fixing Damon with a dark stare, one that says, don't fuck with me, among other things. You know what? This isn't the time for your bullshit, Damon. I need you to go and do your thing, and tell Bash to get Oppo on the line. For me, it'll always be Oppo, but apparently, according to the devs, it's pronounced Oppo. We'll be paying a visit. Yes, sir. Damon gives a mock salute, pulling on a pair of black leather gloves and looking thoroughly unimpressed at being interrupted. He turns back before he leaves the bridge, sparing a single glance over his shoulder. Don't wait up for me. I'm gonna become a mumble rapper, guys. I'm not sure which one of us he's speaking to, and in the end, I decide I'd rather not know. We're almost done with the first chapter, guys. It's almost an hour in this video. With a thick swallow, I turned back to the other man, steeling myself against the wrath Damon so generously invoked in him. Damon was unnerving in his own kind of way, but this man is downright terrifying. Tall, rigid, with a scowl so intimidating it makes my blood run cold. Looks like the warm welcome ended with Bash. What are you doing here? I need to stop mumbling everything, oh my god. Folding his arms over his broad chest, he stares me down, and I try my hardest not to shrink under his glacial glare. According to Canon Heights, this guy is 6'3" by 1 centimeter. No, he's 1 centimeter away from being 6'4". I am 5'3". This man is a whole ass foot taller than me. That is quite terrifying if you don't understand that. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. He lets out an exasperated huff of air, his sharp jaw tensing with his frustration. Look, I don't have time to babysit a stowaway. Do us all a favor and keep up the bridge, will you? Who do you think you are? What else am I supposed to do? And what else am I supposed to do? That's not my problem. June was the one who brought you aboard. Why don't you go and bother him? What? I'm sorry, did I not make myself clear? Stay out of my way. I blink at him stupidly, attempting to contemplate how exactly one man can be so obnoxious. Who are you, the captain? Play nice now, Calderon. My eyes flick up over him involuntarily. He has a look of a soldier. Strong jaw, stiff back, stick up his ass about a mile long. Look, I really don't have time for Ayame. Get the goddamn ship on course. We are not stopping by the Keep-Elfin ruins. I don't give a shit what time of year it is. I'll embark something at him and I back away slowly, thinking it's probably best to keep out of his way after all. I barely made it 3 steps before he turned, sapphire eyes laying down on me in a cold stare, freezing me in place. You're from Goldus. The way he says it isn't a question, but catches me off guard nonetheless. What? That's where we picked you up, right? Right? So, tell me, do you really think this new guy in power, Zovac, is going to be any better than this greedy son of a bitch before him? Flash of anger passes over his features so quickly I would have missed it if I wasn't looking so closely. Look, man, I don't know who the hell Zovac is. I think the only person here who really knows that I have amnesia is June and Riona. And I guess Bash. My eyebrows knit together, confused. Maybe Riona was mistaken about my accident. I feel less like I've taken the blow to the head and more like I've been dropped into another galaxy entirely. I don't know. He sneers at me, his lips curled cruelly, and immediately I know I've struck a nerve. You don't know. Isn't that what all you Goldens wanted? A fucking liberator? Bro, I don't know. I don't even know my last name. You really think I know who the Zovac person is? Back off, Captain. The woman, Ayame, warns him, her voice low but with enough venom coating it to be threatening. Calderon snorts, ignoring her. How do I know you're not one of his lackeys? Maybe this whole memory loss ploy was a way to get on the ship. You think I want this? To not know who I am? Who knows what you'd say to worm your way into my crew? I don't even know who you are! He takes a step towards me and it's so intimidating that it takes everything I have not to move muscle. You're unbelievable. And you're becoming a pain in my ass, so I'm gonna ask you one last time. He points a finger at me and I resist the urge to shove it away. Oh shit. Are you working for just Zovac? Who? Who? Closes his eyes and pinches the bridge of his nose tight. I can almost see whatever shred of patience he had left wither and die. I don't know what else he expected me to say. I have no idea who this Zovac is. What the hell are you doing on my ship? I didn't ask to be here, bro. Your guess is as good as mine. Sounds to me like I need to have a word with June about picking up strays. My chest heaves with anger, but I hold my tongue. He is the captain after all, even if his managed leave much to be desired. Know this, until we reach our destination, all eyes will be on you. Are you always this paranoid? Paranoia is the least of my worries. Zovac is not a man to be trifled with. If you don't like him, then maybe he's not so bad. It takes only a second to know that this is the wrong thing to say. His lips curl back from his teeth, revealing a scowl so venomous my eyes widen. Not so bad. You think murder and deceit and radicalism is not so bad. His growl echoes straight through me and I inhale sharply, meeting him head on. Zovac, the bastard who forced the crown council in the name of a king, and not before killing the entire royal family. Think about that, will you? King Fenris, 3 queens, and their 11 children. Murdered. His eyes are blazing, the fury made obvious by the growl in his voice and the flesh of his skin. Now, how about you tell me again how he's not so bad? For fuck's sake, Calderon, have you really got to be a raging asshole 98% of the time? She grabs Calderon by the arm, hoists him back a step while she glares up at him. She's not responsible for the mess she's in. Or wearing. He fixes her with an equally hard stare, the tension between them palpable as he grits out from between clenched teeth. Set the course. Now. She merely rolls her eyes at him, storming back to the cockpit controls. Confusion must show on my face because when he turns to me again, he lets out a defeated sigh, rubbing a hand over his face tiredly. You really don't remember anything. His voice is surprisingly gentle now, and I shake my head, unable to turn my gaze away from his. It's only about those eyes. Calderon's got a wall around him about a mile high. That much is obvious. But every now and then there's a flicker of something. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was sadness. He inhales sharply, the red flush of anger melting away as he waves a dismissive hand at me. Whatever. I've got shit to do. Head back to your room. I'll have someone check on you later. I let out an impatient sigh. Agree. Yeah, we're not gonna provoke him. Provoking him sounds like a bad idea. I'm still reeling after this confrontation, but there isn't any point prolonging the argument. It's clear this man is as stubborn as a mule. Fine. His smile. He grins, and even though it's still intimidating as hell, there's something handsome about it. Catches me off guard, and for a moment I struggle to right myself. So you do have a lick of common sense after all. He huffs a laugh and a shiver snakes down my spine. That's more like it. Wait. What did you say your name was? I didn't, but It's Rose. He gives me a strange look, eyebrow quirked, and then he shakes his head up as if deciding he doesn't care after all. Well, whoever you are, we'll be dropping you off in Terranium once you get there. I suggest you come up with a plan before then. The streets of Vega are not kind to the unprepared. We're hitting an hour in this episode. Until then, unless you can do something useful, which I highly doubt, stay out of the way. He turns to leave the room, but not before giving me another once-over, sizing me up. I stand there dumbly, watching the captain leave the bridge, his heavy-set footsteps disappearing underneath the hiss of the closing door. Sorry about him. It isn't personal if it helps. You don't need to apologize. I glare towards the door, his words still rubbing me in all the wrong places. You're not the one who should be sorry. Ayame laughs, her tone low and disbelieving. You sound just like him. My glare shifts from the door to her, thoroughly unimpressed. Being compared to him is certainly not something I appreciate. Also, look at her. I love her. Purple. I love her outfit so much. I'm sorry, but trust me, I know. I'm starting to get sinus problems again. Calderon is complicated, amongst other things. My eyebrows crinkle confusion between my calm exterior. There's nothing complicated about being civil, or learning some manners in that case. Come on, I saw you talking to Damon before Calderon came around. He's not exactly Lord of Niceville either. Yeah, but at least he was honest. My eyes fix on her, the truth between them blunt and unbroken. And he didn't call me useless. She sighs, tugging out a thin braid hanging by her shoulder out of habit. Well, we're all a little cuckoo around here. Try not to let it get to you. Like I said, it's nothing personal. Besides, I can teach you a thing or two, like how to tell them both to take a hike. In a more colorful language, of course. She laughs and my lips curve at the sound. There's something calming about her, something that puts me at ease, and it's a relief to know the ship is not entirely filled with douchebags. I can't help but wonder exactly the nature of her relationship with the captain. They seem pretty close after all. The last thing I want is surprise, so perhaps an indirect approach would be best. Or maybe I shouldn't ask her at all. How would she disclose her personal life to a stranger? I can hear the links in that brain of yours struggling from here. If you want to ask me something, go ahead. I won't bite. Unless you want me to. She adds the last part with a wink, catching me off guard with her boldness. Let's just ask her. It's not a big deal, really. I was just wondering if... you and the captain look close. Are you two... Allowing my voice to draw, it's almost funny to watch how her expression shifts from the clear, careless confidence into one of utter... I need to talk. My god. Shifts from that careless confidence into one of utter disbelief. Wow, you want to know for a thing? With a laugh bordering hysterical, she runs a hand through her hair, drawing my attention to her face. I glance over the gear attached to the side of her head. It looks advanced, amazingly so. But what really catches my eyes are the thin gills on the side of her neck, moving ever so slightly with each breath she takes. A Catalfin. Feeling familiarity warms something in me. It's a relief to know I'm not alone out here. We're definitely not a couple. Never. Ew. Gross. She makes a gagging sound before she turns back on me with a crooked grin, completely unfazed. He's more like a lame older brother. We've looked out for each other for as long as I can remember. That makes more sense, actually, and I feel a little foolish at having thought otherwise at all. Hang on. You asked me if I'm single before getting my name. And they say I'm the bold one. I love her! I love her so much. The grin on her face is so wide it makes her eyes almost as thin as her gills. I open my mouth to protest, only to realize there's no argument. I did ask her relationship status before her name. This is awkward. I'm Ayame, and the one who keeps the steel tub on course is yours truly. Please, call me Aya. Ayame just sounds so Calderon, don't you think? She talks so fast there's barely enough time for me to process the information, but I find that I like it that way. You don't need a name to get my attention. My lips curl slightly into a crooked smile, though I'm not quite sure where the confidence is coming from. Perhaps it's simply Aya rubbing off on me. We've been confidently flirting with everyone. Except Cal, because I don't want to try making that situation even worse. You could say I have my priorities in order. It's her turn to flush, and I struggle against the urge to chuckle when her eyebrows shoot upwards and her plump lips form a perfect O. Besides, you don't need a name to be memorable, even if it is a beautiful one. Aya. Okay, I did not see that coming. My shoulders shake with the urge I have to tease her further, giggling at the expression she's making. Furious blush that takes over her cheeks is only slightly less amusing than the look of pure confusion on her face. It led me to believe she's the bold one on the spaceship, but she's clearly not used to handling someone who meets her head on. I mean, I guess I squeezes her eyes shut and shakes her head furiously, trying to wipe the blush from her face. It's good to see her success is only partial. Well done, Rose. I can't remember the last time someone caught me off guard like that. I may have a gift. It won't be that easy next time, amigo. I shrugged, trying to let on how much I may be in testing that particular theory. Thinking about that, however, brings back the memory of the captain's ultimatum. This episode is going on for a long while, oh no. Smile on my face fades as I remember, and I can't quite explain why. I hardly know these people, but somehow the thought of being alone in the state I am is somehow terrifying. Hey, what killed your mood? Do you remember something shitty about your past? I wish. Shaking my head, I raise my eyes to meet hers, taking in her subtle concern. No, I'm just not sure how much longer I'll be around. Why's that? You got someplace to go? Well, not particularly, but the captain said he'd drop me off in Terranium when we arrive. Aya's eyebrows almost disappear beneath her hair as she stares at me, a mixture of shock and anger clouding her features. What the? He said he's dropping you off in Terrarium? Terrarium. I'm saying terrarium, as in, like, a place that you keep an animal. That's terranium. Yeah, it is your next stop, isn't it? It's my turn to look confused. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I couldn't have mistaken the name like that. It is, but do you know anyone in Terranium? Got any place to go? Any plans? I keep shaking my head at her questions one after the other. My past is still a blur. These people are the only ones I remember knowing, and somehow I think I've gotten a little attached. Exasperated, huff, Aya throws her hands in the air and starts pacing in front of me. Is he out of his freaking mind? No, he must have completely lost it by now. Biting my lip, I told her by the arm to stop her from burning a hole in the floor with the intensity of her pacing. It's okay. I can take care of myself. I'll just ask around, get a job or something to keep me going while I try to get my life in order. It's fine, really. Oh, honey, no. Last thing I want is to cause trouble for one of the few people who's been so kind to me. They already saved my life. It's not right to ask for more from them. Aya stops, pulling her bottom lip between her teeth, and before she turns to me. It's not fine. A job in Terranium, fending for yourself in that place when you don't even know your last name? Shaking her head, she puts a hand on my shoulder, looking me dead in the eye, and I start to understand a little of how she manages to keep a pair like Damon and Calderon in check. This is so much talking, oh my god. Look, don't worry about that. I'm not going to let that dumbass leave you stranded, and the hissing sound of the pressure door opening next to us interrupts Aya. Rose, didn't I tell you get some rest? Startled by the stern voice, I turned to find a very annoyed doctor, her hands on her hips and her foot tapping expectantly. It's not my fault. I should have, well, technically it is. I should have asked you for directions. What's all this fuss about anyway? Sorry, we were talking, and then I found out some dumbass is thinking of doing something even dumber. I lost my cool, Rihanna's expression melts once she notices my confusion, her eyes settling on Aya with an almost maternal fondness. Then you go and deal with Aya, but please don't drag Rose along with you. She needs to rest. Now. Keep a smile on her face, Aya squeezes my shoulder once before walking to the door. Aye, aye, on it. And then she adds, quiet enough for only me to hear. You'd better do what the doc says. You don't want to see her when she's mad. Her footsteps fade as she skips down the hall and Rihanna offers me an apologetic smile. Don't worry about her. I'm not even sure what she's talking about. True, I think she was upset about me being in Terranium, but I can't really tell why. I don't think any of us do most of the time. But enough chit-chat. You need to rest. Come on. Her smile is soft, but the firmness of her voice makes it clear that I don't have a choice in the matter. So answering with a smile of my own, I follow her away from the bridge. My body is still sore enough to be a bother, my legs having grown stiff from traipsing around the ship the past few hours. I didn't notice it so much as I was talking with everyone, but resting doesn't sound half bad. After hours of lying in bed, tossing and turning, I finally admit that I'm not going to be able to get any sleep and settled instead for pacing the small room. My mind is stuck in an endless loop, sprinting 1,000 miles an hour, and the harder I try to think about my past, the harder my head pounds against my skull. Nothing feels right. I'd hate to think what Oriana would do if she saw me burning myself out like this, but I can't help it. Especially now that I need to come up with a plan for when we get to Tranium. I don't remember much of the Junkan planet like everything else, but I know it's not a good place to be alone. Gambling dens, arenas, bars, strip clubs. What exactly am I supposed to do in a place like that? It was easy to joke about starting a new life earlier, but now it's sounding a lot more daunting. Even as I eventually give up pacing and drop down on the bed, crossing my arms behind my head and staring up at the metal ceiling, counting the bolts and rivets above me. My head shoots up at the sound of a knock at the door, and I push myself off the bed and walk over to it. It's the big old choice. Who's gonna be behind the door? Let's go with June. June. That's my cat's name. He stands in front of me, hands tucked in his pockets, and a warm smile on his face. Sorry to bother you this late. Under the warmth of his gaze, I allow myself to let out a small smile, despite the worries that still hang in the back of my mind. Would it be alright if we took this inside? Oh, sure, come in. June follows me inside, taking a seat on the same chair and mimicking his position from earlier in the day. He looks around curiously, and something about the tight stint of his mouth makes me feel he has a lot to say, yet he's holding it all in. I'm sorry I didn't check on you earlier. It's been pretty hectic around here. I sit on the edge of the bed, matching that tight, apologetic smile with one of my own. Oh, the music is beautiful. You don't have to apologize. I could tell things were busy. Besides, I'm fine. Guess that means no memories came back? I shake my head in defeat, running my hands in front of me anxiously. But what about you? Is everything okay with the ship? His eyebrows dip a little, and I get the impression he doesn't get asked this nearly enough. But June was the one who brought me aboard on Goldus. He saved my life, and I don't have the first clue on how to thank him for it. Am I? Of course, everything's fine. I'm just worried about you. There's no need to worry about me. You, on the other hand, seemed pretty shaken when the lights faltered earlier. Oh, those really were just some technical issues. Maybe more structural than technical, but it's handled. Stretching his long arms a bit, June strains his posture in the chair. He always looks so put together, whereas I mean it, everything's fine. Everything's under control. It's impossible not to smile at the ability he has to put me at ease, but I have to admit that his presence is comforting. We'll have to make a quick stop to sort some things out, but nothing to worry about. Oof. I nod, hesitating a little at the words that poise themselves on the tip of my tongue, but I can't put it off any longer. June, I really wanted to say thank you. Before. Everything. Saving my life for starters, and helping me out. It meant a lot having a friendly face when I woke up without a clue what was going on. Something about him turns gentle, and he leans a little closer, his eyes fixed on me. Really gonna look like that? Look at me like that in this video? I wish I could say more, to let him know I'm fine. But I will be fine, and I'd hate to be a burden to the person who helped me remember my own name. No need to thank me for that. I just did what everyone should. Simple as that. I'm just glad you pulled through. Which reminds me, I've got something for you. June pulls out a small metal object from his pocket, handing it over to me. You had this in your pocket when I found you. I thought you might want it back. What is it? I reach for the object, feeling the cool touch of metal on my fingers. He shakes his head, leaning forward a bit to admire the way the light bounces off its surface when I roll it in my hand. Not a clue, but it feels important somehow. I and Bash took a look at it. Everyone did, really, but all we recognized is metal. Catalphanite. Hard enough to get a hold of even before the planet was destroyed. Now it's about as rare and expensive as a substance can get. I'm only partially listening to June now, mesmerized instead by the sphere in my hand. There's a kind of power about it. Some low, throbbing energy running over my skin, desperate for release. Everything about it feels familiar. Feels as if guided by some distant memory. I close my palm over the sphere, squeezing once before releasing it slowly. Shock on June's face must be a precise mirror of mine as we both stare at the sphere, opening its lid, showing its contents and flooding the room with a melody. First few notes of a tune tinkle from the sphere as it opens, and my eyes snap to June's. His face just as dumbfounded as my own. It's a music box. It has some initials up there. NLP. The inside of the sphere is an intricate maze of metal, moving cogs, neon lights, and sizzling energy, and my eyes are mesmerized by the movement as it plays its slow, sad lullaby. Lullaby is spelled wrong, there's no E in it. I'm pretty sure. The tinkling notes echo through the room, each as hauntingly familiar as the last. It's almost cruel how it caresses the edges of my memories, taunting me to remember faces and names that are no longer there. My heart tugs at the hopelessness of it all, and another sharp pain shoots to my head. With my teeth clenched tight against the pain, it's only now, when I feel the wetness on my cheeks, that I realize I'm crying. But why am I crying? The music box hasn't triggered any memories in me, only feelings. A sadness and longing so strong it makes my heart ache. Melody ends, and for a long time after, neither of us says a word. Until Jude breaks the silence, his voice barely more than a whisper. Anything? Jude's voice pulls me out of my reverie, and I have to blink a few times to regain my composure. He holds my gaze with his own, warm and gentle, as if to say he will never judge me. And yet I see the question hidden in his eyes, an echo of my own. I swallow thickly. It pains me greatly as I shake my head in response. Will I ever remember? Do you think? Do you think I'll ever remember who I am, where I'm from, anything? I ask myself more than anything, closing the music box with a soft click. June creases his forehead at my question, unsure how to answer. I don't know. Mine is complicated. I'm not the best person to give you a reasonable explanation, but I truly believe you just need to give it time. Holding the music box tight in my hands, it pulses, thrumming through my skin. Sad, sweet music still echoing in my ears. I thought this thing would help. I'm sorry I was wrong. At least you managed to open it on your own. I hate to say this, but maybe you shouldn't remember. Mumble rapping again. Woo! My eyes flicked to his, confusion hitting me like a brick wall. What? Have you thought that maybe whatever your mind is holding back from you is for your own good? I don't understand. Think about it. What if what happened in your past is so traumatic you don't want to remember? My eyes fall on the music box, on the one and only tether I have left of my past. There must be something that makes it worth remembering. June takes longer to answer this time, his expression darkening in a way I've never seen before. I hope so. I really do. Taking a deep breath, he stands, running a hand through his hair. He blinks a couple times and the darkness dissipates, leaving only that familiar smile in its wake. I'd better get going. It wouldn't do for someone to see me coming out of your room so late. Why is that? June opens and closes his mouth a couple of times before managing to reply with a chuckle. My friends here, they would never believe we were just chatting. Not that I'd mind, but I hate to leave you wide open in their teasing. They can be relentless. Oh. Oh. I did enjoy spending time with you, regardless of appearances. The flush that settles on my skin is undeniable, and I think the time to sleep has come. Now. Same here. It's too bad we won't get to spend more time together since I'll be dropped off in Nos Vega. Captain's orders. My voice trails off as the prospect of being alone in that place hits me. And I only look up again when the weight of June's hand settles on my shoulder. Is that where you want to be? Not particularly. A shrug and June pushes himself up, preparing to leave. But you leave that to me. I have a favor or two to call in with the captain. He won't be dropping you off anywhere. My mouth drops to the realization that for the second time, June has completely saved my skin. Waving his hand dismissively, he's already one step out the door when he looks back over his shoulder. If you need anything, my room is just down the hall. Feel free to come knock at any time. And you might want to consider brightening this room up a little. It's yours now, for as long as you need it. Gratitude swells inside me, and as much as I try, I can't will myself to thank him for what he's doing for me. So instead, I settle with a smile, hoping it conveys the emotion well enough. Sweet dreams, Rose. The door slides closed before I get the chance to reply, but I'm too tired to yell. With a heavy sigh, I lay down on my bed, holding the music box up above me. Metal glints in the fluorescent light, and I vaguely recall hearing a catalpa the night before. It's a metal that was found in catalpa before it was destroyed, mined from deep below the watery surface in the ocean caves. That explained the pearlescent shine. Why do you feel so familiar? I speak out loud, squinting as something catches my eyes with an intricate detailing. There's an engraving on it. NLP. What does it mean? Feeling the exhaustion weighing on me, I decide the question can wait. Open the music box once more, I set it beside me on the bed, watching the dance of the lights and gears as the tinkling melody lulls me to sleep. My eyes grow heavy, so heavy, and I'm pulled under by the weight of my exhaustion. Wavering on the brink of dreams and reality, I hear it. A sweet, strong voice. Familiar. So familiar. Be strong, Rose. Be safe. You're a fighter, a survivor. The day where I have to leave you will come, sooner than we both know. Promise me. Don't give up. Who are you? Why can't I remember you? Why does it feel like I miss you and I can't even... I'm sorry. I miss you too. End of episode 1. Alright, well finally, almost an hour and a half in, we're done with episode 1. Woo! Man, I love Andromeda 6 so much. And I can't wait to play more for you guys. So if you like this, let me know down in the comments below, please. And give a like on this video and subscribe for more visual novel and romancy and suspenseful content. Will we find out who we are? Who knows? Which one will I kiss though? You can decide down in the comments. This is gonna be a fun ride. So anyway, I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye bye!